Section 7, subsection A of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission Act 2004 states that the Commission has powers to cause investigations to be conducted into the properties of any person if it appears to the Commission that the person's lifestyle and the extent of properties are not justified by his source of income. A very warm welcome as you join us on another edition of the program, The Eagle, coming to you from the stables of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. My name is Aisha Gambari. Aisha Mohammed is also on the program with updates from ongoing cases the Commission is prosecuting across various courts in the country. Hello, Aisha.
Hi, Aisha.
What do we have from the court of this segment today?
A lot has been happening from the court quarters. I'm sure our viewers are eager to hear them. Hello, viewers, and thank you for being part of the program today. And as part of the segment, we'll bring you a report on the conviction of John Yusuf, one of the 6 federal civil servants facing prosecution for allegedly stealing over 32 billion Naira police pension fund.
Thank you. We begin the program with a report on the just concluded rally organized by a coalition of labor unions in support of the fight against corruption in the country. The work, which held in Mailafia, the Nasarawa state capital, was to call attention to the need to change the perception of corruption in Nigeria. Rolake Odofin Jolayemi Hasmo.
The walk, which was in partnership with the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, was to draw the attention of all stakeholders to the importance of joining the anti-graft war. Participants defied the scorching heat to come out in their numbers to engage in the walk. They displayed banners canvassing for a concerted effort aimed at eradicating corruption, specifically calling on Nigerians to support the EFCC for a better future for the country's teeming youth population. Addressing participants, Co-convener of the union, Mohammed Jabiru, said the walk was to create awareness and reinforce the need for the grassroots population to support the fight against corruption. Jabiru expressed great concerns over the recent ranking of Nigeria by Transparency International, which placed Nigeria on 148 out of 180 countries, stressing that it does not augur well for the image of the country.
Our people in the state and the local government need to be sensitized to know what EFCC is all about, especially in the present time and the effort of government.
Secretary to the Nasarawa state government, Abdullahi Mohammed, who represented the governor at the event, noted that the state was also committed to the fight against corruption.
I want to state very clearly that the government of Nasarawa State, led by Omoruto, support what the EFCC is doing and other anti-corruption agencies to bring sanity in governance and indeed in the entire polity.
Ibrahim Magu, acting EFCC chairman, who was represented by Wilson Uwujaren, head media and publicity, assured the participants of the firm and unalloyed commitment of the EFCC to the fight against corruption, particularly under President Muhammadu Buhari. The coalition, which comprises of unions under the NLC, the Nigerian Union of Journalists (NUJ), and the National Union of Road Transport Workers, has other co-conveners, including Mariam Ibrahim Osuza, its chairperson, Wilson Baku, National Vice President NUJ, Nasarawa State Chapter, and Abdullahi Ibrahim Osanga. Rolake Odofin Jolayemi, reporting for The Eagle.
The acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Ibrahim Magu, has warned newly elected local government chairmen and councillors in Edo State against committing acts of economic and financial crimes. This warning came at the onboarding ceremony organized by the Edo State government for newly elected chairmen and councillors in the state. Please take a look.
Speaking on the topic, what is corruption? The acting chairman, EFCC, was represented by Mailafia Yakubu, Zonal Head of Operations, EFCC, Benin Zonal Office, stated that corruption constitutes Nigeria's biggest problem and that all hands must be on deck to halt the rampaging monster. Describing corruption as the reason for Nigeria's underdevelopment, Mailafia charged the newly elected local government chairmen and councillors to embrace transparency and accountability, as the EFCC will not spare anyone that is found wanting.
There is no better time to discuss this topic, which says what is corruption, than now. And we're all here, sometimes one way or the other, we are victims of corruption. According to Wikipedia, corruption is a form of dishonest and unethical conduct by a person entrusted with a political or position of authority. You are here seated, entrusted with positions of authority. This person uses that office for his personal gain or his personal benefit. Corruption may include many activities. It includes bribery, embezzlement of government and public funds when somebody holds an office.
He further warned that even if there were no petitions against them, the Commission has special powers to cause investigations to be conducted on any of them if it is noticed that such a person was living beyond his resources. As
you assume office as chairmen and councillors, we urge you to walk the straight and narrow path to shun corruption and economic and financial crime, to uphold integrity, transparency, and contentment. Be your guiding principle, and as Holy Book admonish us that a good name is better than riches. As a note caution, let me tell you that some former local government chairmen who have failed to heed to the previous warning have been prosecuted and convicted. It is my sincere prayers that your case will be different.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, and the Nigerian Navy have agreed to strengthen the existing collaboration between both organizations in their efforts to curb illegal oil bunkering in the Niger Delta region. This decision was reached when officials of the EFCC Benin Zonal Office paid a courtesy visit to the Nigerian Navy ship Delta Warri in Delta State. Details of these and other stories will come in the next report. Please stay tuned.
Mailafia Yakubu, EFCC Benin Zonal head, who led the EFCC team on the visit, said the essence of the visit was to inform the Nigerian Navy ship Delta that the EFCC has commenced operations in Benin and therefore solicit their cooperation in curbing activities of oil thieves. He commended the Nigerian Navy for their prominent role in dealing with oil thieves, informing them that many of the suspects handed over to the EFCC in the past have been prosecuted and some convictions have been recorded. Commodore I.A. Dewu, who expressed his delight with the EFCC for establishing an office in Benin, said the Benin office will close any gap that may have existed in the past, as Benin was easily accessible. He said the Nigerian Navy ship Delta will partner with the Commission to curb illegal oil bunkering and other activities of oil thieves in the region. The EFCC team also paid a courtesy visit to the Chief Judge of Delta State, Justice Marshal Umokoro, where Yakubu commended the Nigerian judiciary for their effort in the fight against corruption. He said the hundreds of convictions which the EFCC has secured since its establishment would not have been possible without the support of the judiciary.
We are here basically to solicit for support from the judiciary. The contribution or the success of EFCC is partly attributed to the judiciary. Most of the convictions we had, we know, if not because of the judiciary, it would have been difficult for us to achieve such a milestone.
The state chief judge, who commended EFCC's efforts in combating corruption, however, urged the agency to avoid coming to court with cases which can easily be settled through dispute resolution mechanism.
No doubt the concept of the EFCC and the philosophy is a very sound one, but our problem is the implementation. How it's working out, that's the problem, like every other institutions. If you read through people are doing quite a good job, there's no doubt. Corruption is cancerous, there's no doubt about that. For how it's cancerous, there's no doubt about that. It's only a fool that will run away from the fact. That is true. But how do we fight it? And for us to tackle it, we must all agree on certain principles.
The EFCC team also visited the State Commissioner for Police, Mohammed Mustafa, who pledged the support of the Nigerian police to the EFCC.
Glad to know you're still there. The program is The Eagle, coming to you from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Still to come, Acting Chairman of the EFCC, Ibrahim Magu, has admonished public officers not to betray the trust reposed in them by the people. He gave the advice at the two-day retreat for senior state officers, newly sworn-in commissioners and heads of parastatals in Awka, Anambra State. Rolake Odofinjola again reports.
While delivering a lecture entitled A New Dawn, Expectations from the Public Sector, Magu reminded the new state officials on the importance of avoiding unforeseen and embarrassing problems while carrying out their official duties, especially as they relate to corruption, economic and financial crimes. He encouraged the officials to align with the guiding principles of Servicom and promote transparency and effective service delivery in their various areas of responsibilities, saying the betrayal of public trust is the worst crime a public officer can commit against the people.
Some people even don't believe that corruption is wrong. But everybody in this room believes that corruption is wrong. Deep inside. Yes, I believe that. Everybody believes that corruption is wrong. And the cause of every problem in this country, even the civil war was caused by corruption. Even the problem of Boko Haram, etc., happening in there is caused by corruption. Corruption leads to so many things. So please support the fight against corruption.
In his remarks, the governor of Anambra State, Willie Obiano, expressed his gratitude to the EFCC boss for his personal presence at the event, adducing that receiving the message directly from the corruption fighter would make a lasting impression and impact positively on the jobs of the officers. While assuring the acting chairman of his team's confidence in the anti-corruption campaign, Obiano reiterated that as leaders, he and his team were vicariously liable for the crimes committed by their subordinates. The two-day retreat was an intense exercise by the newly inaugurated Obiano administration to position the cabinet for better performance.
Thank you, Rolake. A public office is indeed a public trust. Do not abuse positions of trust for private gains. And from that report, we move to our court update segment with Aisha Mohammed. In that segment, 16 Ukrainians suspected to be oil thieves are now being investigated by the EFCC in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. Over to you, Aisha.
Welcome to the court update segment. The Court of Appeal Abuja Division sentenced John Yusuf, one of the 6 federal civil servants facing prosecution for allegedly stealing over 32 billion naira police pension fund, to 6 years imprisonment and a fine of 22.9 billion naira. The report.
5 years after his conviction and sentence to an aggregate fine of 750,000 naira, by a Federal Capital Territory High Court, presided over by Justice Abubakar Talba, sparked national and international outrage. Yusuf got a respectable punishment for his offense, as the ruling by the appellate court is the climax of the appeal by the EFCC, which, dissatisfied with the decision of the trial court in the plea bargain arrangement on April 26, 2013, approached the appellate court to set aside the judgment of the lower court. The 5 grounds of the appeal bordered on the exercise of discretion of the judge in imposing sentence on the respondent, who pleaded guilty to the 3 counts charge, in which he admitted converting the aggregate sum of over 24 billion naira of the police pension fund into his personal use. The appellate, in its brief of argument dated and filed on the 17th September 2013, formulated one issue for determination by the appeal court, which is whether the trial judge exercised his discretion judicially and judiciously when having convicted the respondent of a 3 counts charge of conversion of over 3 billion naira contrary to Section 309 of the Penal Code. The respondent on 10th June 2015 raised a preliminary objection on the competence of the appeal, for which they argued that the notice of appeal was filed outside the mandatory 90 days and therefore in contravention of Section 24, subsection 2b of the Court of Appeal Act 2010 as amended, and therefore asked the court to dismiss the appeal. Ruling on the substantive matter, the justices of the Court of Appeal held unanimously that the 3 counts involving the respondent clearly states the amounts for which the appellate alleged that the respondent converted for his personal use. Consequently, they ruled that the sentences is hereby quashed and deserves to be reviewed. The sentence of the imprisonment is to run consecutively and the fine is to be cumulative. Still on convictions, the Benin Zonal Office of the EFCC has secured the conviction of Adesuyi John, also known as Jimo Shaka, at the Federal High Court, Benin City, on a 2 counts charge bartering and obtaining by fraudulent means. The convict, upon arraignment, pleaded guilty to the charge. Justice P.I. Ajoku accordingly convicted and sentenced the defendant to 1 month imprisonment on each of the counts. The sentences are to run concurrently. In the same vein, the zone also secured the conviction and sentencing of one Godwin Oye Daniel, also known as Mirabel Smith Adeleke, and Omotayo Abiodun, who is also known as Ibrahim Gracious, before a federal high court in Benin City, Edo State. The duo, upon arraignment, had also pleaded guilty to the 2 counts charge of obtaining by false pretense and were sentenced to 1 month imprisonment each.
The Supreme Court on March 23, 2018 dismissed an appeal filed by Kenny Martins challenging the ruling of a Court of Appeal in Abuja, which on June 28, 2012 ordered his retrial by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) for an alleged 7.74 billion naira police equipment fund (PEF) fraud. The report.
The appellate court had ruled that Justice Abubakar Talba of the Federal Capital Territory High Court, before whom Kenny was arraigned in 2008, erred when he discharged him and his co-defendants Ibrahim Dumuje, Johnny Icheka, and Cosmas Okpara of the charges after upholding their no-case submission. The ruling of the Court of Appeal, which was read by Justice Regina Umudu, ordered that the Chief Judge of the FCT reassigns the case for retrial. With the victory at the appeal court, the EFCC was set to begin their trial, but Martins proceeded to the Supreme Court challenging the ruling of the appellate court. Martins has, however, with the ruling, lost at the Supreme Court, and his retrial with the others is expected to commence shortly. The defendants are accused to have conspired among themselves to commit a felony, to wit, forged documents relating to Corporate Affairs Commission in a bid to fraudulently change the members of the Board of Directors of Niger Stock Limited, or regional partner with the federal government on the Police Equipment Fund, and thereby committed an offence punishable under Section 97, subsection 1 of the Penal Code, caption 532, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 1990. In another development, 16 Ukrainians suspected to be oil thieves are now being investigated by the operatives of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. The foreigners are being investigated alongside a vessel, MT San Pedro Pio, with registration number IMO 9610339 NT 2444. Handed over to it by the Nigerian Navy's Forward Operations Base, Bonny Akiama Road, Bonny Island in Rivers State. The suspects include Vaskov Andriy, Geshek Miankro, Shulga Flaglisho, Olangpofi Ivian, Skoporofo Andriy, Naderia Leonid, Vorohi Andriy, Burika Maskim, Skok Segi, Yakovenko Segi, Biauchuk Roman, Shagov Flagdekfu, Sheberinko Olanchu. Others include Tekuteno Gunade, Diachenko Diamintro, and Postiko Shegi. They were arrested on the 23rd of January 2018 by the Nigerian Navy ship NNS Agbamas patrol team deployed for anti-crude oil theft and illegal oil bunkering operations around Odubu Terminal, Port Harcourt, in Rivers State. Navy Captain S.W. Oludare, who handed over the suspect to the EFCC, said that they were arrested for allegedly operating illegally in Nigerian waters against the provisions of the Nigerian Cabotage Trade Law. They will soon be charged to court as soon as investigations are concluded.
Glad to have you back. If you're just tuning in, you're watching The Eagle, coming to you from the stables of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Next on the program, the trial of Mohammed Momo, who was arrested by operatives of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, for attempting to defraud a sitting governor, has been stalled due to change of counsel by the defendant. Here are the details.
Momo, who was arrested by the commission after posing as a private investigator from the villa, was arraigned by the EFCC before Justice U.P. Kekemeke of the Federal Capital Territory High Court in Abuja on a one-count charge. The prosecution team, led by Benjamin Manji, had planned to present its first witness, Samaila Bello, but the defendant came to court with a new counsel. Godwin Magu, the new counsel, informed Justice Kekemeke that he would need some time to go through the case file. He then filed an oral application for adjournment. Justice Kekemeke thereafter adjourned to May 3, 2018 for the commencement of trial. The accused person, while posing as a private investigator, approached the governor's family to help them stop a purported investigation of 2 accounts belonging to the governor by the EFCC. To perfect his deal, Momo claimed that he came across information regarding 2 bank accounts belonging to the governor that had been under investigation since 2011. He also claimed that he intercepted some mails regarding the said investigations sent to an old generation bank by the EFCC. He therefore approached the victim with these claims and offered to help them kill the investigation. The suspect requested for the sum of 8 million naira in order to destroy the case, but was offered 6 million naira, which he accepted and was asked to come back at a later date to collect the money. Suspicious of the proposal, the governor's family contacted the commission and were told to play along with the suspect. Momo returned at the agreed date to collect the money, but was only offered 2 million naira cash, which he accepted. Unknown to the suspect, the 2 million naira offered to him were marked notes, and as he leaves the point of collection, he graciously walked into the waiting hands of the EFCC operatives who had patiently waited for him. He was arrested and taken to the EFCC office in Abuja and consequently arraigned by the commission.
And that is all we have for you from the Court Update segment this week. Please keep a date with us next week as we bring you fresh stories emerging from trials and prosecution of corruption offenders. My name is Aisha Mohammed. Please be part of the ongoing fight against corruption. Have a good time and goodbye.
Thank you, Aisha. And with that, we wrap it up on this week's edition of the program, The Eagle. Please don't forget to send your feedback to us via The Eagle at efccnigeria.org or search for us on Google Plus at Official EFCC or Official EFCCNG@gmail.com. Like our page on Facebook.com/Official EFCC and follow us on Twitter at Official EFCC. And to watch our programs and other activities, please log on to youtube.com/Official EFCC. My name is Aisha Gambari, hoping to see you next week. God bless Nigeria.